3, 4, hop. 2, 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 3, 4. Company, halt. About face. Who's laughing? There's no laughing in the army. Good afternoon, everyone.
Can we give her a warm welcome for that?
If anyone can't hear me, I'm told I have a big mouth. If anyone can't hear me, let me know and I'll use the microphone. Today, I'm here to talk about the Army. And I'm reading from a book that's very special to my heart because my mother wrote it. Wow. And it's about a woman who joined the Army right after the Civil War. Were women in the Army then? No. This woman, her name was Cathey Williams, was a freed slave. She was sold or given to the Union Army during the Civil War, and she was a cook for that army. And then when the war was over, they let her go. And she didn't know what to do, and she had no job, and she hated cooking and cleaning. Who hates cooking and cleaning? So one day she's going through town and she runs across her cousin who was getting ready to join the Army with other colored people, with other colored men. That's what they called them then. And they were going to become buffalo soldiers. And that's why I have this hat. This is the hat for a buffalo soldier. And you notice it doesn't fit me very well? Well, that's because the buffalo soldiers got hand-me-downs from the white army. And sometimes they fit, and sometimes they didn't. I need a girl, I'm very sorry, but it has to be a girl to come up and wear my hat. Okay, here you go. Come wear my hat you wear my hat while I read. How can a girl join the Army and act like a man? Well, I'm going to read about when Cathey Williams joined the Army. She has talked to her cousin. Her cousin's name is Jasper. And Jasper has said, hey, you ought to join the Army with me. You could dress up like a man. And let's see how she does it. Cathey Williams stood outside the courthouse for a long time. She watched the line of colored men that formed in front of the enlistment table, and her thoughts went back to the conversation she had had with Jasper and Henry a few days earlier. Cathey looked down at her baggy pants and shirt. No one seemed to notice any difference between her and the other recruits. Soldiers nearby seemed to think she was one of those waiting to enlist. That gave Cathey confidence, and she moved over to the enlistment line. Tall and muscular with her short woolly hair, she looked like the men in line. Also, she had lived with the Army throughout the war and had begun to assume the walk and talk and actions of a soldier. Humph, Cathey thought. I can do soldiering as well as any of these men here. She had been at Cedar Creek and Pea Ridge and all over from Washington to Virginia and Iowa. She thought she had observed everything there was to know about soldiering. She had endured hunger, fatigue, battles, marches, tended the wounded, and buried the dead. Her thoughts were racing. I knows all about fighting and about wounded people and dying people. But what does the Army do now that there's no war? And what would she say when she reached the front of the line? What could she call herself? Remember, her name was Cathey Williams. She fooled the soldier at the back of the line, but could she fool the recruiting officer too? And what would happen if the officer found out she was a woman? Cathey began to think of easy names to go by. She thought of the plantation where she had lived before, the Johnson plantation. She could call herself names like Johnny Williams or Willie Johnson. She tried saying all different names to herself to hear what sounded right. Suddenly, she was standing in front of the recruitment desk. "What's your name, boy?" the recruitment officer asked. Cathey's mind went blank. She couldn't remember any of the names she had just tried. "The name's Cathey, sir," she stammered in a low voice. The officer stared at her and waited. Cathey had to say something. William, sir." "How old are you, William?" "I think I'm 22. Cathey tilted her head upward, threw her shoulders back. "Well, William Cathey." Well, that's her name, isn't it? "Well, William Cathey, are you sure you want to fight for the army of these United States?" Cathey didn't hesitate. "Yes, sir," she said. The officer wrote Cathey's new name on a paper and told her to read it and sign it. "I ain't never known how to read, sir. Nobody never teach me." The officer picked up the paper. "I, William Cathey, do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the United States of America, and I will serve them honestly and faithfully against all their enemies. Sign here." Cathey had seen the other men put an X where they were to sign, so she made a bold X mark in the space the officer indicated. Cathey Williams had become William Cathey, a member of the United States Army. And that's how she did it.